Hey everybody, Jim Benson here from Modus Cooperandi and Modus Institute with our third PK Power Up. And this one is about collaboration, working with other people. We don't do anything alone. We always do things working with others. And still there's this notion that personal Kanban means for individuals. Well, it doesn't. It means for people. So if I'm a person and you're a person and we're working together, it's still personal, okay? So when we're working with other people, we need to share information about what we're doing. We need to share information about how we're working together, and we need to share information about projects that we're working on. So we're going to ask 3 key questions, and then we are going to visualize that work. Easy enough? I think so. So the first question is, what am I doing? What am I doing? There's your individual one. Okay, we're happy now. So here it is. It's just like kind of the normal board that we just looked at in the last video. Here I am. I've got 3 things that I'm doing. I've got some stuff that I've done. I've got some stuff that's being saved for the retrospective, and then the we need to talk. So we used that model of a board. And so right now we need to talk. If I finished this and I was working on it with Sue and Ming, and then we get done and it doesn't work right, then Sue and Ming and I need to get together and talk. And you know what? That's work. It's not extra work, it's work, because something was happening there that either culturally, interpersonally, structurally, functionally, politically, you know, whatever we want to put into our little logical song, rehash, we need to talk about it. We need to fix it. We need to make sure that it doesn't happen again, right? No blame, no harm, no foul, but this thing is something that needs to be discussed. That is work, and it's work that I might have done on my own, but we still need to talk about it. The dones. When I finish things, it communicates to my team members or to others who are interested what's been done, which oddly enough is more important than what's underway. We're really focused on what are you working on or when am I going to get the blank, but we're not as focused on what did you finish. All right? So if I'm working on these 3 things and I never finish anything, maybe I'll always satisfy your query when you say, what are you working on? Because I'm always working on your thing and that makes you feel better. But what's really important is, like, over the last couple of days, what have you done? what value has come out of you that is helping me and other people, you know, get our work done? Okay. What am I doing? Last bit, I finished this, goes over to done, worked fine. Now I'm going to pick something else up. I might want to go grab some other people to help make that decision. Shocking, I know, but sometimes it's best to talk to people before you go off and start doing stuff. So you might want to say, you know, hey, Jerry, you are the manager for the Purple Project. Art is the manager for the Blue Project, and Suzanne is my project manager for the Green Project. I know that this one is can sit for a little while, so maybe I want to call these 2 people over and say, hey, you know what? I've got some space. What should I pull next? I don't want to upset either of you or make you think like I'm ignoring you. So if I pull one of these, I don't want to make the Purple Project feel like I'm ignoring them. But maybe you get the managers together and the managers are like, no, that's really your next thing. Okay? So that's how you avoid the extra work of having to have that argument later. You have a conversation up front. All right. So what am I doing? You've let people know and they're happy. Next one, strangely enough, is what are we doing? Okay. What are we doing as a group? So let's say that it's just me and Tony Ann. And this is my column of stuff that I'm doing. Oops. Let's say this is my column of stuff that I'm doing, and these are things that I'm doing that involve close collaboration with Tony Ann. So we've got some stuff over here, some notes and things for done. And I know that at any given point in time, I'm going to be collaborating with Tony Ann, and that's going to require focus and Tony Ann because she's a person and she's a colleague and I care about her and I'm a professional and she's a professional and I am acknowledging here that that work is different than work that I'm just doing on my own. I also recognize that there's a certain amount of it that usually involves her. So when this is done, I look over here and I pull over something else where we're working together. Maybe, even though we're only 2 people in the middle of a big team, maybe, since we always are working on stuff together, maybe we do a couple things. We, when we're able to, we move our desks together, or if we are a remote team, we find time to work together. But we make sure that there is dedicated time to satisfy our doing, right? And then we're done with our doing and we move it to our done, which that should have gone to beforehand. What are we doing? Okay. Last one. How's it going? The how's it going board. So here we have our project board. So we have our project team is working on this project. Maybe this team is made up of people that are only working on this project, and maybe it's a team of people who are working on several projects. But that's how projects go. So we've got some people, and they are doing this work here, just as we would expect. They've completed this work. This stuff's in retro. This is things that they've learned. This is stuff that we'll talk about in a bit. And we have some purples here. Purple's left, purple's solved. These are the things that they noted at the beginning were things that needed investigation, that they thought were complex problems, that were things that were of particular interest to the customer, so they needed to make sure they paid attention to it. But either way, these are highly collaborative tickets, right? We also know that when we're making our project plan and promising dates, we know that these have relatively low variation, very low likelihood that they're going to blow up in our faces, and that these purple ones are little firecrackers, and maybe some are duds, and maybe some will just go pop, and maybe other ones will blow our fingers off. So we would like to treat them with care. So we do these as we need to, but we keep track of how many we've gone through and how many are left. And that's important to the team because the team knows that this ratio is our ratio of kind of knowns to unknowns. And this is what creates uncertainty. And if we're not seeing it, then we don't know what we've solved and we get frustrated and scared. Okay? So we finish stuff. Yes, we do. We finish stuff and move it to done, and then we go to pull things into doing, and it's a normal board. Maybe this one didn't go so well. Pull this over, and that's great. And as we're going along, we're having our retros, we're doing our daily conversations, and we're learning. And part of our solving of the purple tasks and part of our getting together and talking every day is to make sure that we don't go and do stupid things that never needed to be done. So if you make a project plan up front and then you just stick to it regardless of what you learn, that's not professional. That's kind of malpractice. You shouldn't do that. You should make it a goal to learn things as you go along and then have your project evolve. So as your project evolves, you might think, oh, you know what? We learned something. These detail things over here, they provided the detail to know that we shouldn't do this, but instead, we should do a couple of these. Okay? So you move those up. And now what you're doing is you're learning, you're seeing what you tossed out, you're seeing what you added. This gets done and then you do this. But maybe you do, let's move this over. Maybe you do this and then you learn a couple things and then those couple of things bring in a new task. Now, what some people might see in that relationship is, oh no, we have extra work. But what we've actually done is we've said, you know what? We had this, which sounded perfectly rational and logical when we first drew up the plan. Then we learned some stuff, and now we know we need to do these things instead. That is really important. It's really important because the team now sees that these orange things and this slag is part of this learning process. So it doesn't feel like, oh, we went down that rabbit hole or we went down that rabbit hole. It's like the only reason something becomes a rabbit hole is if you keep doing it and you never needed to begin with. Okay? Right? So if you are doing your daily learning and your retrospectives, less rabbit holes, but more acknowledged course changes. Okay? So these are the points where you realized, woo, that would have been a rabbit hole if we'd done it, but now it's not one because we didn't. Now, when stakeholder that isn't with you every day shows up, stakeholder is in the world of your original plan. And your original plan said that alert team was a thing and that it was going to happen. You replace that with these orange things, okay? If you just tell them about it without visualizing it, so it looks like this. Blah, 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 blah. I didn't do what I said I was going to, blah, 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 blah. I failed, blah, blah, blah. That's what they hear. I'm not giving you what you expected. Now, if you're visualizing it like this, then you can say, hey, you know what? We were doing this work here. And we went through this, and when we got this done, we learned these things. And when we learned these things, we realized that this was a really bad idea for these reasons, which are still here and visible on the board. And instead, these are the better solution. So you show them visualizing, right? You show them the decisions that you made so that they can see your evolution or your journey. If you don't do that, then again, it's just like this. No visualization, just you flapping your mouth, blah, 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 and them thinking, God, I sure am disappointed because I wanted alert team to be there. So we have a board, and the board is there for us. It is there for our stakeholders. It is there for whomever needs to know and remember how we got to where we are today. We all know that while we're working, things change all the time. And whether it's our own personal work, what am I doing? Whether it's my collaboration with one or two people, how are we doing? Or with the whole team, how's it going? We need to visualize that work. We need to limit the work in progress, obviously, but we also need to build in those feedback loops so everybody does a good job. Because if you're not learning, then you're not learning. It's just that simple. So 3 more visualizations. This is our last of our series of 3 power-ups. As said before, we go into much greater detail and depth, a lot more how-tos in Modus Institute. You're part of the Modus Institute community when you get there, so a lot of people to discuss either you being a personal change agent or just getting tips on how your team or you can do better. Please come in and join us. We'd love to have you. Talk to y'all soon. Thanks, everybody.